self-serving, persuasive talkers
of everything and nothing.
We are Conversation Con Artists.
What's going on, people? It's your boy, Mr. On Point.
And I'm Cardi B's unfortunate fetus.
Okay. That's horrible.
Also known as Calamity Red.
Babies are a miracle.
Not if they born to the wrong set of parents. I mean, it's a miracle for the parents, but what is it for the baby? Don't nobody ever think about that. Maybe the baby ain't so fortunate.
The baby might be in a good situation, and we just can't see it.
We gonna talk about it.
All right, well, you can find me on Twitter at Mr. MISTER_on point.
And I can be found at red_calamity. We're still doing the listener later portion of the show. So if you have any questions you would like for us to answer, you can send them into the Gmail account, which is conversationconartists@gmail.com. Or you can find us on Facebook, Conversation Con Artists, and send us a message that way. And I think we have a letter this week. We have a comment, yeah.
Yes, Colin sent a comment saying, bruh, when Okoye threw that spear through that SUV and caused it to crash like a traffic pylon, kind regards, Colin Smith. Yeah, that was ridiculous.
Okoye just is the bad bitch. That's all I can say. You don't want to fuck with her. She was finna fuck up her own fiance, boyfriend, whatever he is. She was finna fuck his ass. So she's not to be toyed with.
Didn't play no games.
Not any at all.
Roasted them cats.
But thanks, Colin, for the comment. Y'all send us some questions so we don't have to skip this part, because we don't like skipping this part of the show. So again, you can send it to conversationconartists@gmail.com or find us on Facebook, Conversation Con Artists, and send it in that way. I would like to apologize ahead of time for the lack of energy that y'all are about to have to be a party to, but this pollen is kicking my fucking ass, and so I'm trying. So I know I sound shitty. I'm trying to get some energy.
I have to say that the pollen is doing absolutely nothing to me.
Thanks. That's lovely. You know
just
what?
Just a base of comparison.
But you know what I can do when I leave here?
What?
Go eat seafood. Can you say the same?
You know, it ain't a big deal.
I would rather not be able to eat seafood than to have no control over having a reaction to some shit that's just in the air that you can't do shit about.
I'd rather have the option of not participating in something I don't have to versus going outside and just nature fucking you up. Fucking me up. I'm good.
This shit is it is so much pollen. It's supposed to rain today. I hope it rains and washes some of this shit away. Cause I knew that it was real pollen-y, when I woke up, cause I woke up sneezing. And I took the dogs outside and I was like, what the fuck?
Is pollen-y a word, or you just did some shit?
I just did some shit. Or it might be a word. I don't know. Pollen-y is probably not a word. I'm sure I made
it means something different.
Pollen-y, I guess.
Like colony with a P.
Yeah.
It can mean something.
It can. I don't know if it does or not. But yeah, so I'm not going to be high energy, and I probably will rant about something, but it's going to probably be at this tempo. And it's not because I'm not passionate about it. It's because talking any louder than this hurts my head. So just thought I'd put that disclaimer out there.
Polony is a kind of sausage made of meat that has only been partly cooked.
It ain't sausagey outside. It ain't sausages that been partially cooked outside. It's just a lot of pollen. My bad.
It's also a cluster of polymerases produced by clonal amplification of DNA.
The fuck? Okay.
Polony is a word, but it ain't what you.
It ain't what I'm using
what you
it
think?
for.
No.
But I guess we go ahead and talk about Cardi B. Or did you want to talk about the wedding we went to? No.
We went to a wedding yesterday.
A Catholic wedding, which I had never been to.
Nerd plate.
Yes. Congratulations, Leroy Ketchum.
Congratulations, man. Mr. and Mrs. Ketchum out here.
It was a beautiful wedding. The ceremony is what threw me, because I don't think I've ever been to a Catholic ceremony of any kind. And so to go to the wedding, the way they pray is kind of weird because, like at a Methodist or a Baptist church, when they say Amen, that's it. They kept saying Amen after like a sentence or two, and I'm raising my head up, but they still praying. Like you couldn't. There was no way to know when they were done.
The wedding ceremony didn't seem to be prepared for people who weren't Catholic.
No, it was not.
And don't know
Nope.
the traditions of Catholicism, because clearly people who are Catholic were in line. You could tell because they would start praying without any indication. Mm-hmm. And so, but people who knew would be bowing their heads.
Yeah, and then the rest of us looking around like, oh, is this a prayer?
Yeah, and I don't know that happened until the prayer is over.
Yeah.
And it was a woman there singing. She sung a song and she kept putting her arms out and raising them up, which is the universal sign for stand up. But nobody was standing up. But when she did that, the Catholics would start singing. So I'm like, is that sing?
I guess that means,
is that lift your voices?
I guess that means lift your voices for them. But for, again, Methodists and Baptists, that means stand up.
Yeah.
And so I just started looking around to see what other people were doing to kind of, because I was going to fucking stand up because I thought that's what
the dude next to me too. He kept like putting his hand on his leg like he's finna get up. Then he'll look around and like, ain't nothing happening.
Yeah, it was just a different experience because it wasn't set up. And what's funny is Leroy's family is not Catholic.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are. They met at a Catholic high school.
His mom sent him to a Catholic high school. I don't think she.
Well, I assumed the family was Catholic because a lot of people on the right side was doing a lot of the same stuff the people on the left side was doing, and then the fact that Cole Jackson went to a Catholic school and then he went. I just assumed they had Catholicism going on.
Cole daddy is a deacon in the Baptist church.
I don't know enough about their family.
Cole.
I made some deductions from them too.
No, Cole only went to a Catholic school when he was in California. That's because his aunt sent him there. When he was here with his parents, he was not going to no Catholic shit. I don't think he identifies as Catholic now. I think that was just he went to a school and he learned the stuff. But I don't think he identified. I don't think I think his mom. I think Leroy's mom wanted to send him to that private school because John Carroll is a good school, and I don't know that they're Catholic though. If they are, them two are. Like the rest of his family that I met, them niggas ain't Catholic. Cause they were looking just as confused as okay. I was looking around on his side and they was just kind of like, what are we supposed to do? Especially the ones sitting in front of us. So,
I wonder if they had to go out of their way to get those black priests.
Probably not. It's some black priests in the Catholic church.
It's some. But two was in one place at the same time.
But so Cole said something. One of them was like, I guess it had to be the older white man, I would assume, had been a priest to his wife, to Leroy's new wife, since she was a kid, and so she wanted him there. But I think the other two, I don't know.
He had a big stomach.
Which one?
The white man?
Yeah.
He had a big gut.
He's jolly. He's a jolly man.
I assume he's white. He might be something else.
He looked pretty white to me. I didn't get up on him though, so it was a nice wedding. I just wanted to make some comments about the ceremony itself, just because I had never been to a Catholic ceremony. And like I said, even the prayer, like again, I'm used to amen signaling the end of shit. Like they kept going, like they would say amen after like every sentence, and I'm just like, okay, and they still praying, or there would be a big ass pause. And I think it's over, and I'll raise up, everybody's head still bowed, and then he go talking again. So it was very confusing.
So y'all have heard us mention Cole Jackson. That's Government Name Podcast with Shogun. Leroy Ketchum is his cousin.
Yes.
Which is Nerd Plate with Rockman 3K3.
Yes.
Y'all check out them podcasts if y'all get opportunity to do so. Had a wonderful ceremony.
It was a beautiful wedding. It was simple. Listen. It was so simple. Everything was very nice and simple. Her dress was simple. Her makeup, hair was simple. The ceremony was like 30 minutes long. The reception is what took, but the actual them getting married was like 30 minutes. They were done at like 7.
Yeah.
So it was just nice and simple. And I wish most weddings. I done been to some weddings that you just like, was this all of this really necessary? Like, really? But theirs was very nice and simple, and it was cool. So congrats to the newlyweds.
Congratulations.
So now I guess I'll go ahead and talk about Cardi.
Go for it.
I just want to say, every time somebody said babies are blessings, it's nice. But is it a blessing for the parents? Because all the time it ain't a blessing for the baby. Sometimes for the baby it's some bullshit. Depending on who they parents are.
I don't, babies being a blessing or a miracle, it's subjective. Just because, to me, it's the physiological effects of two people having sexual intercourse, and they physically create a baby from their sperm, his sperm and her eggs.
I think
it's the fucking circle of life.
I think the miracle part is because that's not how it works. For there are couples that can't have babies or try, or it's not as easy, or it's not as simple as that. So maybe that's weird.
I understand some people eggs scrambled, and some people sperm travel in circles instead of in straight lines. We know that, but those are just physical limitations that somebody's have.
I know, but I think people feel like it's a miracle because they could have been one of those people with, as you put it, so lovely, scrambled eggs.
So that means childbirth isn't a miracle. The ability to have the child is the miracle.
Yeah. Even childbirth, people have stillborn babies. Babies don't get carried to term.
So people who have tests that indicate that they are fertile and could have a child that don't have a child should still get the same praise.
What? No, because they ain't had the baby. Babies are a miracle. Only a miracle if the baby is here.
But if the miracle from your perspective is the fact that a person can have a baby versus a person that can't have a baby.
But that only matters if you want a baby. If you somebody that don't want a baby, it don't really fucking matter if you can.
So if somebody want a baby but hadn't had one yet, they get that praise.
You only get the praise after you done got pregnant. Ain't nobody gonna ever walk up to me and be like, babies are a miracle.
I'm trying to diminish is the childbirth part of it. What about childbirth? What about stretching the vagina to the point of almost ripping the anus?
Why would you?
That happens.
It does. But
a high percent chance.
You say that?
I mean, ain't nobody who that happening to calling a miracle at that moment.
Hell no.
That's what I'm saying.
But they feel like once they see that baby, they feel like it's a miracle.
You still got to get stitches.
You do,
in
but
your ass.
People, they do C-sections too, where that doesn't happen. They just cut your belly open, get the baby out.
That just sound horrible.
Cutting your belly open.
Yeah.
I feel like I prefer that. Just cut me open, get it out. I don't want to have to stretch my vagina. Just take it out.
That's a modern luxury too. Imagine what used to happen in the 30s.
A lot of
when the baby was stretched,
a lot of babies
sideways, or
the baby died because they couldn't breathe, or the umbilical cord get wrapped around and they die.
So that's a modern luxury. Everybody can't get cut open.
Well, but I live in modern times, so I can.
Whatever.
But anyway, Cardi B, everybody been saying for months that this heifer was pregnant. And let me just say this, because this is what girls in high school did it too. Anytime, you could tell when somebody was pregnant in high school because it'd be 80 degrees outside and they got on a big ass sweatshirt and you just like, the fuck? Like, you bringing more attention to yourself by dressing like this because now everybody looking at you like, why this bitch got on this sweatshirt when it's 80 degrees outside? Cardi B, who is known for wearing skin tight everything, who stay in Fashion Nova all the time wearing them skin tight clothes that they make, all of a sudden wearing all this bag of shit now. That is a clear giveaway, ma'am. Like, a clear giveaway. And so she and Offset both have been denying that she was pregnant for the longest time. And now, I mean, it's pretty obvious that she's pregnant. And it's stupid for so many reasons. For so many reasons. One, you finna be baby mama number 4. And for anybody who gonna tell me that they engaged can kiss my ass, because engaged is not married. and y'all don't know whether or not he was ever engaged to any of the other 3 baby mamas. So miss me, holler at me when they get married. Engagement don't mean shit to me, cause them shits break up easily. Ain't nothing been exchanged but that ring, and they done spent more money on other shit for each other than he spent on that ring. So that don't mean shit to me. Not to mention, your album ain't even came out. And for anybody said, well, Beyonce had an established career before she had either of her kids. She was already well established, and she was singing and dancing and doing all of that shit while she was pregnant. She announced her pregnancy the first time while performing and shit. Cardi is not established. She's new. I just feel like this was not the best way for her to start her career out. And that it ain't no mistake, because she done said in interviews how she don't like using condoms. So this what happens when you don't use condoms. She don't strike me as the kind of person who's mature enough or smart enough to take a pill every day at the same time. So like, this was inevitable. This pregnancy was gonna happen at some point. The only thing that would have kept this from happening is if she was just infertile, or she had scrambled eggs, as Michonne would put it. Other than that, this was gonna happen.
Okay.
The babies.
What?
I don't think the baby's very lucky.
I think this baby is luckier than it would be under other circumstances.
That could be said for anything. That's one of them, it could be worse comments. Like, it could be worse, but it's still bad right now.
She accidentally broke into the music industry to the point that she could meet Offset. If she had not met Offset and just continued to be on them TV shows she was on, then she would have got pregnant by somebody that ain't got no money.
But I'm not.
At least if she don't have a career for herself moving forward, child support will take care of her and her kid.
It will, but I'm not talking about. Obviously, monetarily, she gonna be all right. I just don't think she picked the best parent. Like, have you seen her in interviews and listened to her? Like, I just can't imagine her being somebody's mama. And I mean, Offset got 3 other kids that he see when he get ready to see them, because that's how it works when you're the dude. So, I mean, whether he's a good dad or not, but like, the baby is gonna be with Cardi most of the time. And I just,
what's your measuring stick? Do we gotta wait 18 years to determine whether it turns out that she was a good parent or not?
No, I don't think so, because I feel like I done seen some shit from Kim Kardashian that make me question her. Like, I don't feel like you have to wait. Like, her dressing Lil North like her when she like 5. Let her be a kid. Like, just relax.
Well, what if North grows up, turns 18, and is perfectly fine?
We'll address that when it happens. I can't look into the future and see what's gonna happen. I'm basing off of what I see now, because I don't know how. Because the thing is, there are kids that grow up in shitty situations that turn out okay despite them having shit parents. That ain't got nothing to do with the parents. That's just the resiliency of that particular kid. So who knows what'll happen? But I'm just speaking from what I'm seeing now. Nothing that I've seen from her now. I feel like she be one of the people in my parenting class, or not my parent, the parenting class that we do for people that fuck up and end up going through the system, because they were shitty parents. Like, I feel like, and I don't think she would, like, I think it would be more of a situation of neglect than it would be like abuse. I don't think she beat the kid.
You know how many of the people that you and I work with that wouldn't be in this situation if they had money? No,
they would still be in this situation.
I don't think they would be in these situations.
I think they would. Why do you think? Cause they gonna be money. I don't know why people think money magically makes stuff okay. People who, like, the people that come in, they would just be living hood rich. They not gonna be. They would look a lot better, but money, hood rich. They would just be living hood rich.
Money don't fix things, but money resolves a lot of the little family squabbles and the issues that come between family when stuff like this happen. Like, a lot of parents who getting their kids taken away because they family abused them is in that situation. That family got to watch their kids because they don't have the financial means to have somebody watch them. Like, it's a lot of situations that parents put their kids in that financially is a problem, or when they get that when something do happen to a child, money would afford them the opportunity to put them into counseling instead of that child becoming more the issue.
If they chose to put them into counseling, you know that there are people that could have the money and still wouldn't do it because they're embarrassed
Well, what
or
I'm
they
saying,
don't like how it looks on them or
what I'm
reflects
saying
on
is
them.
nobody had that. Those people don't have that option.
Well, but
I'm not saying it'll fix every situation, you know, but a lot of issues I deal with, there's a strong component of financial problems on it.
see, so I think we serve maybe a little bit of a different population because like even with I have people that have like 5 or 6 kids that ain't in their custody, but they still file taxes for them and get these huge amount of checks. They come in hood rich. They buy nails, they get their hair done, they buy a new outfit. Like that's what I'm saying. Like the money only matters if you're gonna use it to better this particular situation. But if you just go live hood rich, then it don't make no difference whether you have the money.
I don't
or
even
not.
think income taxes count.
Why?
Because income taxing is like a year's worth of starving, and then, you know, once a year you get some steaks and you get to eat. Like you take care of your personal whatever deficits you've had when it comes to money. I'm talking about a stream of income. I'm talking
No.
about a level of money that allows a person to take care of whatever they're doing. And the only reason I'm bringing this up is comparing it on a base of comparison as if Cardi B is still going to be the same kind of parent that the people over here going to be. She probably going to have a nanny watching this kid. You know what I'm saying? Like that money will afford that child different opportunities. We already know all the celebrity kids got nannies.
Yeah, they do.
You know what I'm saying? Like that itself, like she ain't gonna choose nobody ratchet like her. Money affords her that situation. She gonna be a mama, shit, 20% of the time, and she gonna be on tours, and Offset gonna be on tours, and with all kind of shit, while a nanny is watching their kid. And it's probably gonna be a nanny that's suggested by all the other ratchet friends that she talked to.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe be somebody good. Clearly.
Why would it be somebody good? Why do you think it'd be somebody good? If it's by her ratchet friends that made the suggestion.
Because it's going to be a group of people who have assessed that person is good.
Okay. I think you're giving them a lot of credit. So you think Offset's other kids have nannies? Because he has the money to afford the women. Because he got 3 kids. Each one has a different mom. So you think he paying for nannies?
I'm saying this because she got her own money and she got her own income stream.
She does.
I don't know if the women that Offset has had babies by consider child support as their own income stream.
Probably.
But
I don't think that they've been like in the business themselves. But so do you basing that off of the money Cardi has now? Do you think her having this baby now is going to impact that? Because she knew, like she's a new artist. This is not the time for her to really be having no baby. And as unfair as it is, because people go, so she should be able to have a baby and still have. It's gonna be it's gonna be an issue. I feel like for her having this baby before her album even dropped, when she at the height of like you're right, she just accidentally rolled into this fame, but this ain't the time.
I don't think it's going to take none of her steam away.
I guess we'll see.
I mean, I think she's going to be as successful as she would have been with or without a child. I just don't. I think that she going to get off this ride shortly anyway. That's what I think.
Yeah, she don't like it. I think she wanted it, but I think once she got it, I don't think she likes the fame, and because she don't even know how to. If every time somebody says something about her, she feels a need to respond. She do these little rants and stuff all the time because everything that's said kind of bothers her. And, you know, her doing this and being way more in the public eye than she ever was on Love and Hip Hop, she gonna have to stop taking stuff so personally. Like, people talk shit about celebrities. That's what happens. But she has to address everything that happens. Even like on comments on fucking Shade Room. She be in the comments on Shade Room going back and forth with people. Like,
what'd you expect? She was on that show for a reason. They don't get people on that show who are emotionally stable, docile, able to deal with conflict appropriately, and have had a significant level of anger management. They don't do that. They don't choose people with that.
I know, but I just feel like all of those things that she has going on top of having a baby, is just gonna have an impact. We'll see.
I think Cardi B will be fine.
I
I mean,
guess we'll
of
see.
all the people that we talk about in these instances when they have babies, there's a lot of people whose names we'll never know that's having babies that don't need to be having babies.
Yeah.
I won't say that Cardi B is somebody who don't need to have a baby. Everybody who want a baby should be able to have a baby.
That is bullshit.
What?
No, everybody that want a baby should be able to have a baby.
We got free will, and ain't nothing in our country that limits how many kids we can have. Like, I'm tired of the dialogue surrounding black families about having all these babies and shit. I know a lot of them are accidents. I know a lot of them are unplanned. But when a motherfucker want a baby, or even a motherfucker don't want a baby and can afford to have one, fucking do it. I don't give a shit. Ain't my life.
It's not, but so then you gonna have that kid in your office, and it is gonna become affecting your life because
Yeah,
that
it's
kid,
gonna be increasing my income.
That's horrible.
Listen, I am not naive enough to believe that we can have a world where judges, police, counseling, and shit don't exist.
No, obviously
We gotta
not.
exist, which means it gotta be crime,
There
which means it
does.
gotta be trauma,
It
which means for
does.
me now it means it gotta be kids on Medicaid with some shit going on.
That doesn't
Unfortunately.
mean that I don't feel like everybody who want a baby should have a baby. I done had friends that I thought was stupid for having babies at the time that they decided to have them, and I stand by that. I don't think just because it's not a puppy, it's not a pet that you get and you decide you don't want it and you could just kind of, just feed it and kind of not fuck with it. It's a child that has developmental needs that you not gonna meet, because once the newness and the shininess of having a newborn baby wear off and it's time to do some real shit with the kid, you got all these fucked up individuals. And yes, that means that I will continue to have a job, but it don't mean I have to be happy about it or feel like it should happen. Like, it's a lot of people I feel like don't need to be having no fucking kids because you're not prepared to take care of them. And taking care of them is more than just financially providing for them. That's a way more. You have parents that take care of kids that grow up in poor situations that raise really amazing kids because they provided the things that they needed for them outside of monetarily. I don't feel like everybody that want a kid should have a kid.
My statement is under an umbrella of, supporting what a woman want to do, what in the hell she want to do with her body. Of course there are women that don't need no damn kids. And I can look at a paper history of their life and say, you don't need no damn kids. But I'm not going to tell you, nor would I support a mechanism that would keep her from being able to have a baby if she wanted to, even if that piece of paper say you shouldn't have no kid.
I never said that they should go around castrating people. I'm saying people need to make better decisions for themselves. The choices that they make need to be better. Not people stepping in and keeping them from having kids, but I feel like you should be self-aware enough. Because a lot
If
of
people were
times...
self-aware enough, we wouldn't have so many unwanted births. We wouldn't have so many unexpected births. We wouldn't have that many surprising births. If people were that aware, we wouldn't have that. Like, we got the society we got.
I'm not talking about the like, you do know that people get pregnant on purpose to keep niggas, or they get pregnant on purpose for on purpose, not accidental, not the condom broke, not I forgot to take my pill, but on purpose for whatever fucked up reason.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a very small subset. I bet if you go into every hood, it's probably 5 women out of 300 that's done some shit like that. I don't feel like that is a mass population. I think that most of the women that got pregnant on purpose by somebody that they thought was going to be there for them for the long ride, and then they weren't there for them for the long ride.
Yeah.
And then I feel like some people got pregnant because they shit was going down the drain and they wanted to save it. And then in order to save it, they thought they was going to have a child. That did not save it.
Yep.
I think under that umbrella, there's a small group of women who be like, I'm finna call this nigga over here and get pregnant because I'm gonna fuck his life up. That is a very small subset of those women. It gotta be.
Fuck it. I was talking more about all of the things you just talked about previous. I ain't said nothing about they get pregnant to fuck nobody's life up. But getting pregnant to save a relationship, yes. Getting pregnant to secure a relationship, yes. I think a lot of them do that. Because,
Of course, a lot of them do that, but that ain't under the context of what you were saying.
what you mean?
That ain't under the context of doing it out of spite somehow.
I didn't say they do it out of spite. I just said they do it on purpose. You put the spite part in there. I said there's a lot of people who get pregnant on purpose and it's not accidental. I didn't say for spite. I just said they do it on purpose. And all of those examples that you gave about saving a relationship is still on purpose. They ain't sitting around like, I'm finna poke a hole in this condom to fuck his life up. But they do think that if I have this baby, he gonna be a better person and treat me better because I'm gonna have his child. And then they find out how fucking wrong they is. And the problem with that kind of thinking is when you find out that he still don't give a fuck, baby's still here. Now you gotta have this kid that didn't serve the purpose that you wanted it to serve. You gotta figure out the fuck to do with it.
But
now.
that don't automatically mean that the child is gonna have a fucked up life
It
or that they're
doesn't.
not gonna be a good parent.
It doesn't, but it doesn't mean that they were prepared for what being a parent meant either. Because the reason that they were having the child was not for the child; it was for this dude.
I just think it's just not even that many people who get in a relationship, go strong in a relationship, get married or not get married, both decide to have a baby, have the baby, and parent appropriately moving forward. I think that's just, I don't think that's common today. That shit may have been common back then when society was so deeply shamed about sex that the only reasons that they had kids were in the confines of a relationship and under the approval of they scripture and they families.
Oh hell no!
But today,
no.
that shit is different.
It
I
is
think it's
different.
few people who do that shit. You know, and that, considering that I feel that way, it's still a relatively small amount of people who fucking up so bad that they need to come and see us.
Okay.
You don't buy it?
No, because
You think more? So you think more people out here are fucked up to the degree that they need somebody like us?
Yes, I don't think everybody that needs us comes to see us, or anybody else for that matter. A lot of them don't even know about resources that are available to them because they don't have insurance, or they don't. Some of these folks don't even have Medicaid for the kids, so because of some other shit that did happen. So I don't think that we could judge it based on who comes to see us. Because a lot of people ain't gonna know, you know, especially down in the black community, it's still a stigma about having other people in your business and going to talk to somebody. It ain't as bad as it was, but it's still there.
I'm not measuring it by who comes to see us. I mean, a lot of it, when we see statistics, we don't see vastly high it ain't vastly high numbers of people who have traumatic experiences in their way in terms of being related to parenting and family. There's a lot of shit that goes on outside of that context, like motherfuckers seeing car wrecks, death and grief. There's a lot of other shit that don't have much to do with parenting where it would benefit somebody to see a counselor. Mm-hmm. But when we talk about issues directly related to parenting and trauma from inappropriate parenting, I just don't think the numbers are that high.
If you're
Versus
a teacher,
people that need shit.
I would like to hear from teachers, if we have any teachers that listen to the show, because they see kids a lot more than they see a whole lot more kids than what we see, and interact with a whole lot more parents than what we interact with.
So if you take every teacher's classroom, I'm just hypothesizing that.
But that's why I want to hear from the teachers.
Well, I want you to know that my agency gets referrals directly from school teachers, and we get them specifically based on the issues that the child is going through. I'm not saying that in a classroom of 25, I'm not saying that 20 kids don't need help. I'm saying that the level of help that they see is just, it don't seem to be that much. So I can start talking to, I'm gonna start talking to the teachers.
Or they feel like the parent wouldn't be, because like even if you feel like a kid would benefit from it, if you didn't have interactions with the parent that you know is this ain't going.
But see, that another part. That's what our contracts are based upon. We work with kids at the school for parents who don't particularly want to be involved. That's why they had to create a system for us to be able to come into the schools.
How can y'all see somebody's kid without the kid's parent signing off on it?
No, they sign off. They'll do the paperwork, but they don't want us coming to their house, They don't want us asking them questions.
Okay, but so the parent still is aware that their kid is receiving counselor services.
They're aware, yeah.
Okay, so I'll say it for the teachers that know that the parents well enough to know that the parents are not going to be receptive of the kid receiving counselor services, especially counselor services from an outside agency. They're not going to refer those kids to you. They wouldn't. There would be no point. So if they had a kid that they felt like would benefit from it, but they know that the parent isn't going to be receptive and isn't going to sign off on it because of the interactions that they've had with that parent, you would never see that parent.
What they gonna do is report that family to DHR.
And then
if it's
I'm
a big enough issue.
Then I'm gonna see them.
But DHR gonna send me that referral too, and I'm gonna get to them either way. You know, just through one. Well, you know, the DHR here. It's so many issues.
And you are for Shelby County, right? Not Jefferson.
Well, Jefferson
County.
now. Both
Okay.
of them now. I've been with Shelby for 3 years. Jefferson for like 2 months.
Okay.
So I got some cases from Jefferson, but not that many.
Okay.
So I'm finna learn the ways of Jefferson. But the ways of I've worked with Jefferson before, and they have a really high baseline for what they consider bullshit enough to intervene.
Yeah.
Just because so much stuff is happening.
Yeah.
I had a sister that was 20 something years old. This was like 6 years ago. But I had a sister. She was a sister of a younger boy that had mental limitations. And she said, I went to go visit him at school, and his shirt had blood on it. I asked him what happened. It turned out his sister did it.
Oh shit.
I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
Now I got to report. I don't want to report. I don't want to report.
I don't
I
either.
never want to be the one to report.
Yeah.
What I do now is I go to the counselor because I shouldn't have been able to come there at noon, see blood on his shirt, and I be the first person to ask questions.
Yeah.
Right?
You right.
So these days I go to the counselor and say, of all the people that this kid done interacted with 4 hours, nobody else has noticed what I came in and noticed almost immediately.
Damn.
Y'all need to make a report.
Yeah.
You know, after some kind of investigation, because I'm separate from the school. I'm not the school.
Yeah.
You know, but I had to make a report that was horrible. They ain't do nothing. But I'm just saying that to say they got a high baseline, or maybe that particular social worker had a high baseline.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on I work only with Jefferson County, and we're funded by Jefferson County DHR. So most of the clients that I see are referrals from them for one reason or another, usually because of some child abuse shit. And, you know, just some of the stuff that comes, it's just like, why did you have this kid if you didn't want this kid, yo? Like, just, why? Why did you have this kid if you didn't want this kid? Or why keep this kid? Or why keep having kids and you don't want these kids? And then we have people that when they go through DHR and the kids get removed, they don't do the shit that they need to do to get the kids back. And sometimes it's because they just, if you got 7 kids in your house one day and one day they all get removed, sometimes they don't want them back. And I done run into situations like that where it's like, you're not doing anything the court has asked you to do. And your case, you know, they usually keep the case, I think around 2 years is when they'll just close the case out without, they can always reopen it, but wherever it stands, they'll just close the case. I done had a lot of that happen where it's like, what the fuck? Wait, you ain't do nothing they asked you to do? Like nothing. But come here and talk to me.
Path of least resistance in this case, I mean, we can look at parents from that piece of paper and say they don't need no kids, but the path of least resistance to me is we know these folks gonna have kids.
Oh, yeah.
To me, I think we need to figure out some kind of way in society to educate parents about what is appropriate parenting wise and what is not. You know,
I mean, and I don't want to make it seem like I have parents that come in that recognize the mistakes that they made and they want to be better. But I also have parents that come in that just, the reasons for the kid being here don't exist anymore. And so they just not that interested. Like, they just not that interested in, like, dealing with this kid. Or I have parents that have kids that have, we have a program called Small Wonders where we have a case manager that she goes out to the people's house where they have kids that have any kind of disabilities, like, and I mean disabilities is very wide because she'll go out for a parent that has a kid that got ADHD to be an advocate for the parent, to get a parent some assistance, because having a kid with some kind of special disability is more difficult. And most parents, when they go have a baby, don't expect to have a baby that's gonna have some lifelong issue. You expect to come out of the hospital with a healthy baby. So nobody's really prepared to deal with a child with cerebral palsy or a child that's not gonna be able to function adequately. So she goes out and she helps, those parents kind of deal with the reality of having a child that they didn't expect to have. Because most of the time, like sometimes when they're in the womb, the doctor can say, hey, they got this. Most of the time, people don't know until the baby get here that they got some kind of severe issue. And now you got this kid forever that's got some kind of disability that you didn't. Nobody plans for that because you just don't expect that. You expect to have a nice, healthy baby at the end of 9 months.
And a lot of the parents I deal with, it's just there was no intervention in that person's life to help them understand that their parents' actions were extremely flawed. And so they end up being the same kind of parent their parent was, because that's the only template that they have of understanding what it is, but it was just wrong.
Yeah.
And so now they are re-educatable, but they usually not put in a position to be re-educated until they done fucked up.
Yeah.
Until they've done something that the school question. Because the thing about DHR is, I don't know if you know, like most of DHR referrals seem to be vindictive.
Oh yeah.
They seem to be a family next door that don't like you, or family members that don't like you. They call in and
especially
problems.
these in the project. A lot of mine live in the different projects around Birmingham, and yeah, it'll be somebody they had an issue with that know that you smoke weed and call DHR. It's like, so the thing about it is, even if it is something vindictive, there's something there that will cause them to take the child away. Like even if it's a vindictive thing, if they get there and shit is fine, they're not gonna take the kid. But if somebody call in and know that you smoking weed, because regardless of how you feel, weed in Alabama is still illegal, and you pop positive for it, they could take your kids for that. So usually, even when it is something vindictive, it's usually something they got on you that they know that you doing you shouldn't be doing and call.
And I wasn't saying that to indicate that the kids shouldn't be taken away in them instances.
Oh, but
I'm just making a
basic
basic comparison for a lot of people out there who doing their kids wrong that know it, and they hide that stuff well enough to continue to keep their kids in that bullshit. You know, like a lot of the parents who have abused their kids, one of them I know took the kid to the pediatrician for their checkup after that. You know, and they had lacerations on their back. They thought it was just a whooping and that it was normal and for enough for somebody else to see, but the pediatrician is a mandatory reporter. The child got taken away for that. You know, versus somebody who whipped their kid, see them lacerations and say, well, you got to stay home for 4 days, you know, out of school. Yeah. And I'm not taking you to doctor appointments. You know, I'm saying that to say that the ways that these people interact, most of the people that interact with DHR, a lot of them just don't know how they supposed to be doing it. And the people who know what they ain't supposed to be doing, they doing it and getting away with it. So that system is flawed to me.
It is.
Like how would we be able to find out if anybody is doing wrong? You know, it's really no way.
It's not possible. Yeah.
You got to depend on the school. You got to depend on the community. If y'all see a kid with look like they been abused like fucking a Walmart, they expect, hey, you supposed to call somebody about that shit. You know, but that's from a regular person perspective. That's just, you know, something you can do if you choose to.
Yeah. Well,
I'm a mandatory reporter.
Well, even then though, it's like if you're just out and see it, you don't have because DHR, you don't have the answers for the report. You don't know the parent, the kid. You don't know an address, because by the time that they're not gonna come to like Walmart right then. So the difficulty in like seeing it while you're out is you don't really have enough for a report for them to actually do anything. But
These
if you
days, people start recording your ass and put you on World Star.
That's true. That happens a lot too.
Like it was a woman that had her kids at Walmart, and it was like 30-degree weather, and they didn't have on no shoes, and they had no shorts and short sleeves. Like they recording the hell out that woman and her kids.
But she had on clothes though, and shoes. Yeah. That's what pissed me off.
And a jacket.
If you feel like it's warm enough out here for this shit, why you ain't got on shorts and a tank top of shit. You should be dressed like the kid is. Because if your motherfucking ass is cold, you know this kid is cold. It's just stupid. I mean, maybe Cardi will be a great mom. We gonna find out, because that's the thing about, and that's one of the things she doesn't like about this fame, is that she's in the public eye and people gonna be scrutinizing and looking at her. Probably they gonna be looking at her more hard than they do other celebrities because of who she is and how she behaves, and people gonna be looking for her to fuck up. So we'll know. I mean, with her, unless she decide to say fuck all of this and to go and get out of the limelight, we're gonna know, because people gonna be following her around.
And look, if you want a kid, or you think you want a kid, and you prepare to have a kid, whether you actually prepared or not, go for it. But if you also know people who trying to have kids to be vindictive, and they ain't ready for kids, and they just want a baby because baby fever done kicked in.
Yep.
And, you know,
I had a friend like that. I love her to death, but we was in grad school, and she just called me up one day. Was like, "I want a baby." I was like, "Bitch, what? What you mean? Like, what?" She decided that she wanted to have a baby in the middle of grad school by a dude she had been dating for like, I don't even know if they had been together 6 months at this time. She got pregnant, had a baby. He wasn't there because she didn't know him well enough to know if he was on board. He knew she was trying to have a baby. What turned out is that he, for whatever reason, thought he was infertile, so he agreed to have a baby with him thinking that he couldn't have a baby.
Stupid dudes. This man run on Raw Dog a couple of chicks and busted, and then not had no kids. So didn't realize that ovulation and other variables make a difference in whether a woman's body is prepared to carry a child at the moment.
Yep. He wasn't around. She's now a single mom. She finished grad school. I'll give her that. But it's just like, in that moment, you just decide you want a baby. And it's like, bitch, what are you talking about? This ain't the time. He ain't the dude. It's so many reasons why this is not the time for you to do this shit. But she just had set her mind to having a baby. And then, even more illogical, she decided she was gonna have a girl. And I was like, you do know that you don't have no fucking say about that. Like, you carrying what you carrying. And she went the whole pregnancy like worried about whether or not it was gonna be a girl because she didn't want a little boy. And so I had serious concerns about what the fuck was gonna happen if thankfully she had a little girl. But if a little boy had popped out, because she would get mad at people if they would be like, you know, it could be a boy. Like, she was not fucking having it. So not only did you do this at an inopportune time with a horrible person, but you have an irrational belief that you gonna have this girl that you like. None of this make any sense at all. And this is somebody who obviously was very intelligent. She was in grad school. Before that moment, I thought she had all her marbles. But after that, I'm questioning, like, bitch, what is this? Like, because I'll get baby fever. As hard as that probably is for people to believe. But I'll see a little baby sometimes and I feel a little kick in my ovaries. Or, I mean, sadly, puppies get me more than like babies. Because babies look like little old people. But I'll see a little puppy and be like, oh, it's so cute, it's little. And oh, look, a baby. And I would like a baby. But I come back to my senses and realize that I'm not in the space in life for no kid. I don't even know how I would feel like when the kid was like, I'm looking at a baby being like, oh, look at the little baby. I don't never look at toddlers or children or teenagers. It's just little babies. And it ain't gonna be like a Kingston, where Kingston stayed relatively small. Like, this kid gonna be get old and get into shit. So I had to shake myself sometimes and be like, bitch, you don't need no baby.
So for me, the kids I work with are enough to fulfill any desire to have kids. All right.
See, I only like the baby stage, and I don't work with babies. No, I want a baby.
No, what I'm saying is, I know
baby.
Because time works, that a baby is gonna become the ages of all the kids I work with. I'm fine. I'm fine with that. And I don't even babies. They like little salamanders. I don't respect none that can't hold its own head up. Little weak necks. I don't want to deal with that. You know,
You just have to hold their head up for them till they get strong.
but why? They can't do nothing.
Because they're made of nothing.
I want a kid that can hold a controller immediately, so we can
No,
play the game together.
That's not how that works. They gotta grow.
I gotta start off holding his head up, tending to the crying, feeding it,
changing his diaper.
Why we can't be like the animal species?
What you mean?
Giraffe fall out their parent and be walking in a day. We gotta hold a baby head up for I don't know how many damn weeks or months. Then we gotta feed them for years. They legs don't work right. They can't walk. We sit here like, come on, and they fall over, and I'm like, what? Why we gotta be like that? Our power is so deeply embedded in our brains. Our body don't give a shit when we get started.
No.
Other creatures, they skills are so deeply embedded in their bodies, their brain don't even work because we killing all of their asses.
But that progressed because of like you know animal species change over years and they adapt to survive. A giraffe has to be able to walk so it can run from the motherfucking lions and shit. We have not evolved that way because we had needed to. Because we got parents that'll hold your head up until you can hold it up. It ain't no danger in that.
That's why we got to create buildings. We couldn't be born in the jungle.
Hell no.
You know, babies is tender meat for animals. That's like filet mignon for a lion. I like that tender baby meat.
But it's because
you think a lion don't want a baby gazelle over a grown one?
Yeah,
they slow.
But they have, so that's why they are able to walk and run when they get here because they have to. That's out of survival. We don't have to do that. A baby don't need to walk and run when they get here.
I know enough about Darwin and the survival of the fittest to know that is the reason. That's why I don't want to fuck with a baby. That's why. That's why I look at all the kids I work with and I'm like, this is good enough. Being able to have them for an hour and send them back is good. But what I do, you know how you get one of them little flow charts where it like start up at the top and then it's yes or no. And if it's yes, you keep moving. The day I'm dating somebody and she say, ooh, baby fever, I want a baby. That flow chart started in my head immediately. The first part of it is, are we married? If we're not married, no, do not continue. We ain't having no baby. Now, are we planning on getting married? Like, do you fool with marriage? Is that important enough for your family? It's important to my family, but it ain't really important to me. Do you plan on getting married or do you plan on being like in a long-term serious relationship? Yes or no? If yes, then we stop right here because we got to wait until we get married. If no, we could continue. We could continue down this path to see whether we going to have a baby. So we are not in a relationship or we are in a relationship. We are not getting married. We're going to be in a long-term relationship. Now we got to figure out the qualifiers upon which our circumstances are right for a baby. And this just off the cuff right now. Like I don't have this. I'm creating this right now. So this is just all I can conceptualize right now. I feel this shit in like a motherfucker if I got like a day. Okay. So first question, how much money is in our savings? How much debt do we still have? Like who finna be calling us during dinner time while we got a baby? That's an important question. How much support we have? Do we live in the city where our original families are? Because are we finna have to pay for daycare?
You realize that the average person does not do this.
I know the average person don't do this.
Back to people not being prepared for what babies mean. Nobody does this. I'm not even gonna say the average. Like nobody but you.
You gave your I get baby fever story. This is how I get out of it. I just happen to have an Excel sheet for how to get out of it. Okay.
Ridiculous. Like
these are questions you need to ask. How much support do we have? Who watching the kid? Because if one of our mamas or family members can't watch the kid, I'm not paying for no daycare.
You would have to.
And your crazy ass uncle definitely ain't watching our kids.
Yeah,
because I ain't finna deal with no early life trauma shit.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable with men watching kids in general, unless they daddy. Like my kids will not be staying with any men that are not their dad. Like I just am not comfortable with that. I'm just not. Too much shit can happen.
What are our parenting styles? Are you out here trying to be permissive so you can be the good friendly parent, and I'm out here trying to be authoritative? You know, so I can have some middle ground in the shit.
Oh my God, you're so weird.
Do you go to church? Do I go to church? Well, I don't go to church unless you want me to go to church. Then I go to church. You know, that's just the enlighten. I mean, how do we eat? Am I gonna have to change how I eat when the baby come out?
Why would you have to change how you eat?
Because we gonna have to make food for the baby.
Not if you use booby milk. Then it's
Well, that's
free.
early, baby. We already established that I'm trying to get past that shit. Well, I already know that life gonna be crazy. I know my sleep schedule gonna be weird.
Yep.
I know my adjusting my finances for a new baby gonna be weird.
Yep.
I know trying to starting my schedule, getting the baby places it need to be. That's gonna be weird. I know all that's gonna be weird.
Yeah.
We talking about we've adjusted. We've got to where we is. The baby ain't got to hold his neck up no more. It might be about to walk now. That's what this is the period of time I'm talking about.
Yeah, just get.
So if I'm cooking, how do I gotta adjust that for the baby?
You don't. They get their own stuff still.
I don't know.
That's a lot to get out of baby fever. I just think about the fact that they not gonna be this little. Cause like,
Well, what I'm saying is somebody else's baby fever is gonna get the treatment. Is what I'm saying.
Jesus.
Like that, it ain't gonna be no. I got baby fever, pregnant in a week.
Oh hell,
Don't work
no.
like that.
No, it does. That's stupid. Like again, most of the time it's because I see a baby.
Well, I don't know how long it took for your friend, but you implicating that.
Oh, that was quick.
Yeah, like
Like
that's what
she
I'm saying.
woke up. She started talking about this probably in like December. And she was pregnant in February.
Well, baby fever today ain't gonna be insemination tomorrow. Is what I'm saying. Baby
Well,
fever today
it shouldn't
is gonna be a questionnaire of whether we are ready in our relationship, in our financial life, in our parenting aspirations, in our financial goals, in our faith and worship, and in a whole bunch of other areas.
That you pulling out this list is gonna be enough to kill her baby fever because she gonna be like, this nigga is crazy.
Well,
He
she gonna
got
know
a
that before
whole-
she can't have baby fever.
No, because you said that it ain't gonna. You ain't gonna pull the list out till after that happens.
No, she gonna know. See, what I'm talking about is a way that I think. It's the way that I exist. This don't just exist with babies. This exists with everything.
I know, but I'm saying the way that you exist with this is gonna kill baby fever. Just that alone, because ain't nobody gonna want to answer all of them questions.
Hopefully it'll boost her logic and rationale of whether this decision is appropriate or
Or
not.
she just gonna think you crazy.
What I'm saying is she gonna know I'm that level of neurotic when it comes to making decisions. That's what she gonna know already. Because she gonna know when I talk about the food I'm finna cook. Or she gonna know when I'm trying to decide where we finna go out to eat. And why we not going to this place versus why we going to that place. Or why I like this dish at this place versus why I never buy this dish at this place ever again. I'll be able to explain to her precisely why. And she gonna understand that my neuroticism at that point exists enough to know that when she say I got baby fever, that it's gonna trigger a set of responses that is supposed to take us to the best decision.
I feel like you gonna get a lot of letters home from the teacher of your children because they gonna get.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. They gonna be
No,
like, little Timmy is asking, like, we can't even get through a lesson.
I'm gonna get the first letter, and when they see me and visit and who know who I am, they're gonna be like, okay, we understand. It's clearly not a bad thing, but we got to figure a way to work around this because I don't want to have me with that motherfucker no more. He asked 30 questions just like Timmy asked 30 questions.
That's where you get it from.
My kid wouldn't be named no damn Timmy.
I
either.
couldn't think of Timmy's like a universal name I use.
Timmy's a universal white name.
It is,
You need
but-
a new universal name for black
but I
people.
don't want to. Deshaun.
Jamal. You went too black. Damn, Jamal, Tyrone.
Okay, Jamal. You gonna get letters home from Jamal because Jamal they ain't gonna be able to get through a lesson because he go. But no, that doesn't make sense because of this. That's gonna be Jamal.
That's fine. As long as Jamal getting A's. I got a friend who got a kid like this. He said, I'm not raising my kid the way the school is raising these kids. I'm raising my kid to be an independent thinker and ask questions, and they raising my kids to answer questions inside of a box. You know, and so my kid get all A's, and he asking questions, and he's a little bit rambunctious because he finished all of his work and got other stuff going on. They call me here and say, you know, your child is causing problems, and they like, he like, what? Don't he got all A's? You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all got to figure that shit out. Like, y'all not finna tell me when my idea of school is you go there to learn, get your lesson, and show motherfuckers that you getting your lesson. If that's what he's doing, y'all got to figure the other shit out. I'm doing good. I'm doing well for what my child's supposed to be doing. Y'all got the structured system of how to deal with disciplinary issues if you feel it's that.
These teachers are not gonna be prepared. It's gonna be fucking hilarious. my kid probably be having an attitude and I'd be getting caught up there for that. Yours gonna be asking too many fucking questions.
I just need him to be smart.
But we'll see what happens with Cardi and Offset. I guess congrats. I don't know. And let me say this. I don't date, like, I would not have dated Offset. Like, I wouldn't have. Like, somebody with 3 kids by 3 different women, the fuck I look like? Like, I don't operate off of I'm special. I don't. And so I feel like I'm going to get the same treatment these past 3 women and got. Like, I'm good. Like, I would not date somebody that has 3 kids by 3 different women. I just wouldn't, personally. Now, Cardi's mentality, because somebody said something in one of her comments that she responded to about how they felt bad for her or whatever. And she was like, he take care of his kids. Everything he do is for his kids. He all about his kids. So why would I be upset about that? So her thing is, he financially supports his children, and I guess
But if you date a man with kids, the variable between how much you value him and how he can respond and take care of you is how much he is taking care of his kids, right?
It is, but if you have gone out here and just shooting up the club with 3 different women and made 3 babies that you now have to support separately, which may be 3 different child support orders, that cut into our ability to, 1, what our household gonna look like. 2, if I have baby number fucking 4, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's too much. Like, that financially is way too much.
So even if he can afford all of that and provide you with the level of comfort that you like.
No.
It's about the principle of having a certain amount of kids that you have to pay for, not about whether you can actually take care of the household or not.
It's not about the number of kids. It's about the number of mamas.
It's about the number of mamas.
If this was a man that was married before that had 3 kids within his marriage by this one woman, that is different to me than a man that then had 3 kids with 3 different women. The fuck was you out here doing? Why are you just having babies with everybody? Like, no. And that's 3 different women that I'm going to have to deal with because them kids going to be over at the house with us at some point. So I'm going to have to deal with these 3 women.
So what's your baby mama cap? 2?
I would prefer 1. Like, honestly.
That's why that's what your cap is. Clearly you prefer 1. Is 1 your own? Like, is 1 the only you'll take?
Probably so, because I have a tendency to find shit wrong with people. Like the current dude from Tinder that I was talking to has 2, and I couldn't. Sorry, y'all. I couldn't deal with it. Like,
you couldn't deal with him having 2 kids?
2 women.
Oh.
That he had to, because even he describing his interactions with these 2 women, I'm like, well, shit, you can't get along with them. What the fuck? Like, I don't want to deal with that. It's too much. That's just too much. Now, one of them she didn't got married, and so she cool, but the other one is still single, and I just don't want to deal with it. It's too much. Like, no. Like, I understand people.
What do you think is worse, dealing with baby mamas or dealing with baby daddies? Dealing with baby mamas for women or dealing with baby daddies for men?
Baby mamas for women.
Why you think that?
Because women are a lot more emotional and they have a tendency to be a little bit. Plus, the kid is with her, so the interactions. Like, if you been having to deal with a baby daddy, kid is with the mom. So, like, you get along with that, it don't really matter because the kid is going to be with her most of the time anyway and just get visitations with the dad usually. Opposite, if I'm with a guy, he got to keep a cordial-ass relationship with her to not cause no problem so he can keep seeing his kid. And if she get an attitude or get upset, then that's a problem. They have a lot more, they're more likely to, I ain't got time for that. It's too much. I feel like baby mamas are worse than baby daddies because you don't have to deal with the baby daddies often.
I mean, it depends on the relationship that they have. Like,
I'm talking about like in a typical arrangement, the dad is only going to have visitations. Sometimes it may be every other weekend. It might be like for the summer, but that it's not going to be, usually it's not split down the middle. There are situations where the dad has a kid just as much. They split the time. More often than not, you ain't going to have to deal with that. Like, he ain't going to be around that much. It's going to be dropping the kids off every other weekend and he might get them for like the summer or some shit. Like, the average arrangement is not going to be split custody. It ain't. That's just not how that works. So an average arrangement, you would have to deal with that. Now, me on the other hand,
But I think, but I think it's the reason I think that's not so much a negative when you're with the man that have a baby mama is that you only gonna deal with her 2 days out the week. If that's the case, every other weekend maybe. But if you are the man in a relationship with a woman with a crazy baby daddy, you're gonna be dealing with the kid and the daddy's communication with them constantly, right?
you could do the same thing with the mom having communication with, like, I got to deal with maybe the kid ain't gonna like me because mama is mad that he dating somebody and then said some bullshit, and now the weekends that we do have the kids, they got an attitude, or I can't be around because it create problems. Because my existence, dating him, could have an impact on that, and so then he might, again, with a woman, usually the custody arrangement is what it is. But like with dudes, especially if the dude ain't went through the court and this is just a spoken arrangement that they have, me coming in might throw a wrench in that. Now she got an attitude that is impacting your relationship with your kid. That ain't gonna happen on the women's side. Like, even if it ain't no custody arrangement, women control the kid most of the time. Even if it ain't no custody arrangement, the women control the kid. So you're not gonna have to worry about his interference. I would have to worry about whether or not my being with him is going to have an impact on his relationship with her, therefore having an impact on his relationship with his kid. Because now maybe she got an attitude of like, is she over there? Well, he ain't coming. You know what I'm saying? I would have to deal with that. You would have to do that.
Well, I think the issues more so will, if I was dating somebody that had a kid that's dad was a level of involved, I have to deal with being invalidated because men, opposed to women being emotional, are very territorial.
Yeah.
So it's like, don't be telling my kid this, or if he tell you this, then, you know, don't listen to him.
Yeah.
Or the issues won't be coming from adults to adults. It'll be coming from kid to adults.
Yeah.
You know, and the last thing God want to be is in a household where I got a stepchild that is disrespecting me because they daddy said doing it. Bruh, like, that'll be the worst because you got to respect their dynamic to a degree.
Yeah.
You can't create a level of conflict that ain't gonna cause you problems.
Yeah, I mean, that's where the mom has to step in and try to help with the situation.
She gonna know at the beginning. I'm gonna tell you right now, if his daddy is or her daddy is a level of disrespectful that starts to cause our relationship problems, I'm gonna let y'all have it. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Hopefully I see this stuff before marriage comes.
Yeah.
But it's not likely because I would expect the woman to protect her family dynamic until it's serious enough for me to come in
you wouldn't have been
level.
around the kid that much by the time y'all got married if she's
so
not
I
crazy.
feel like I'm just gonna let her know, like, marriage is this important to me. So I will get a divorce if we ain't gonna work out, because I'm gonna discover a lot of these new dynamics coming into your family system. I'm the stranger, and I'm smart enough to know that, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm emotionally regulated enough to manage it as appropriately as possible. But I don't like wild cards. I don't like variables. And if this child's daddy end up being a big enough variable, I'm skating.
How many baby daddies? What's your cap? Baby daddies.
Like I said, ideally one, but my cap is 2. I don't want nobody with more than 2 kids. You know?
Yeah.
You know, at this age, I accept somebody. Like
I accept people.
My shit it's like when I was in my 20s, it was like no kids.
No kids, yeah.
Then in my late 20s, it was like, I don't want nobody with kids old enough to say you ain't my daddy, which is about 2. And some 2-year-olds with some sense can say that.
Yeah, they can.
You know, but now it's like, I'm old enough to date somebody with a kid finna graduate high school.
Yeah.
And it not be that, I mean, somebody that had a kid when they was 16, that's the situation.
Yep.
You know?
It's so weird to be this old. Yeah, I used to be the same way, like, no, and so I'm accepting of it, but like, I'm not finna be dealing with your drama because I'm not bringing none. I got dogs.
I'm old enough to date somebody with a kid with a voice deeper than mine.
Yes.
That'll be weird. Nigga, you ain't finna tell me what to do. Damn, maybe you right. Maybe you're correct. let's not consider it telling you what to do. Let's say I'm making suggestions on behalf of your mother.
My God. Yeah. Can't be dealing with baby mamas, but
What done going on in the world these days?
bunch of bullshit.
Well, we talking about relationships, and since we talking about relationships, let's get into this. Prince Harry, he declined the prenup
Oh,
for his marriage with Meghan Markle.
what?
Declined the prenup.
But the royal family ain't happy about that shit.
I don't know. I
No.
mean,
they not. Even it
well,
don't even.
clearly they not. They might not be happy about her being a brown person, but this is shit they got to put the face on, because what you can't do is be a racist system now. Like, they got to put the mask of acceptance of this on, because the only
but
only
on
way
that
of,
part, even if she was white, they would not be happy about him not doing a prenup.
But
like, they would.
is this Prince? What's the other Prince?
William?
Prince William. Does he have a prenup? Like, was a prenup even a part of the dialogue with them?
I don't know.
That'll be important to know.
Probably.
Is a prenup just the dialogue with Meghan Markle? Was that like, is that new? Or
And it might. I mean,
versus when William make a decision, we value William's
well,
decision.
but Catherine is also. She is part of like an upper class family in England. Meghan Markle, again, whether she was black or white or whatever, I feel like because she is an American actress who is not of their, she wasn't of their faith. She didn't went over to Catholicism, but like I feel like even if she was white, they would have a problem with this, because like if they get divorced, this American is gonna go off with half of whatever the shit he got.
Is that even? I mean, is that even the laws over there the same over here? Like, is that how it works still?
Probably.
I mean, clearly, because this dialogue exists.
Princess died. Because if it didn't, there wouldn't be no need for no prenup.
That's what I'm saying. The
Only reason
dialogue
that
exists to
prenup-
mean it is something, but is it the same as over here? You know, can you run off with all of somebody's something?
Princess Diana still had a lot of.
I would assume that the royal family might have some kind of exemptions.
No, but she will be a part of the royal family after she marries him. She's a part of the royal family. She wouldn't be exempt. Her getting married to him is gonna make her a whatever.
But them getting divorced would cancel her back out.
No, you keep the title. I think Princess Diana was still Princess Diana after she got a divorce from Charles. I don't think you lose your title.
Look like you lose your life.
Well, in her case,
Keep it, Megan. Don't be stay married forever. They willing to protect it. We done seen all you done acting in some movies where people was willing to protect the shit that they want, or TV show.
yeah, TV show,
not movie.
Yeah, she is in Suits, but yeah, I mean, I think she would still have all of the benefits that she had prior to. I don't think you lose your title once you get it. Because Princess Diana was still a princess and her and Charles got a divorce, so.
It's really ironic that they call her Princess Di.
I hate you so
I'm just
much.
saying. It's fucked up.
They didn't know that she was going to die early. She would have died anyway, just because human. But they didn't know that was going to happen. They would call her Princess Di well before the paparazzi made her crash the car. Or made her driver crash the car. But, I mean, I could imagine that they're not happy about this. Even more so not being happy that she's a brown person, because especially because they may feel like she just doing this shit for a come up, and now he ain't signed no prenup that made it even easier for her to do this shit for a come up.
Well, the Queen gave her official acceptance of their marriage like this past week.
Was that before, or that was in as like with the
I don't
prenup?
think that got nothing to do with the prenup thing.
Okay.
I think that's just
Just
separate.
the marriage in general. she
Yeah, I
accepted.
think probably some lawyers or counsel talked about the prenup part. The Queen probably don't care. I doubt the Queen done said, you better sign a prenup. You know, I doubt it.
Why you
They
doubt
got
it?
enough resources to not give a fuck.
It ain't, but it's not. You gotta understand that this is still a place that does kings and queens and prince. It ain't. It isn't about having the money and not missing the money. It's just about what that's gonna look like. That this American, because she is still gonna be an American. She's. I mean, and they're gonna still look at her because she's not a British blood. Running off with half of their shit. It's the principle. It ain't got nothing to do with whether or not they got the resources. The queen is not gonna want to be embarrassed by this American coming and shysting her grandson.
Look, that's their risk. Look, running off on the plug ain't never described how big the plug was. Okay, if she run off on the plug, then that's they lost.
But that's why she probably ain't happy with it, cause she know that that's the possibility.
Well, I don't know if she's not happy with it.
I wouldn't imagine that she would.
I
be.
mean, I feel like they probably do have a problem with her being brown, but
I'm
they
sure
can't put their
they
face
can't
on
put
it
that face
because the
on
whole
it.
country got a problem with
Yeah,
it.
I'm sure they have a problem with that, but I also feel like, regardless, if she was a white actress from America who he decided he was gonna marry, the prenup thing would still be an issue. Shit, Usher mama got mad as fuck at him the first time around with Tamika because of the whole prenup issue. Like, that's just something that people with money, the families, the business folks behind them want them to protect their assets. And I don't think the royal family is gonna be any different. I feel like they probably are like, the fuck is Harry doing out here? Marrying this girl without a prenup. How you know this gonna last?
She had to change her faith.
Yeah, she had to become because that's what I'm saying. She to get married in that Catholic church and she got to become a British citizen.
Catholicism ain't. I mean, it's under the umbrella of Christianity. So
Yeah,
I mean,
but you gotta. But
I know. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but Catholics don't look at it.
It wouldn't seem as that big of a change for her.
no, probably not. Well, that wedding was real different, but like just
It
ceremonial
wasn't
wise,
real different.
Just ceremonial wise and all the stuff. That
I mean,
they
the
say.
building was different. It had like a floating Jesus in the front,
It did
like
have
the
some-
ascending Jesus is
the
what it looked
ascending
like.
Jesus, yeah, but yeah, I mean, I knew she was gonna have to become Catholic because they're gonna get married in the Catholic Church, and Catholic churches do not marry non-Catholics. I knew that she was gonna have to become a British citizen because in order for her to become part of the royal British family, she has to be a British citizen. I knew she was gonna have to do those two things.
So my question is, how do you feel about prenups yourself?
I mean, if I marry,
And I'm saying this like it's an M in it, but I've always said it. I know ain't no M in it.
and what?
Prenup. It's prenuptial, but I keep saying prenup because that's how I've heard it my whole life.
Prenup is the short for it. Prenuptial is the whole.
That's what I'm saying.
But what you said? You put an N or an M?
M. Prenup.
Yeah, that's
I'll
just
be
country.
saying that. Yeah.
It's prenup.
I know what it is. Just like I know that dough is pronounced door and foe is pronounced four.
That's just country.
Just want to let you know.
I mean, so here's the thing. I would sign a prenup if I felt like if I'm here for the long haul, I would sign a prenup if there was a cheating clause that it's invalid if you cheat on me. Like, that would be the only way that I would sign a prenup.
And the way I've come to understand prenups is whatever you agree to it being.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
it might not even have nothing to do with half of your money or nothing. You just might really want the house that you had when
Yeah.
you started. So your prenup just say, you know, if anything go wrong between us, I want
Yeah.
to keep my house that I don't want you to be able to take these certain things away from me, you know, but you could still take half of motherfucking money.
Yeah.
A lot, you know, it just depends on what you
Yeah.
put into it.
I would sign it if it was negotiable. Like, I would want an adultery clause in there. I don't know what else. I would have to think about it. But I wouldn't be opposed to signing it. But you also ain't finna give me the shaft.
But is that something that you would propose? Would
If
you
I had
propose a
money?
prenup? No, just
Not right now. The fuck they gonna take? No, I ain't got shit.
well, I mean,
Currently, I don't have
let's say you have a
anything.
prenup that has just that clause that gives you access to things. Let's say that person amass a lot of shit but can leave your ass out to dry like hell after they cheating on your ass. I mean, they have to provide spousal support, but if you go
And
to take
child
their shit,
support. Well, but no, because if there is no prenup, in place, then everything is community property. If it was, even if
So
he
you could, so without a prenup, you could take half
that's
of it
why
anyway.
people do.
Yeah,
That's why they do
their
prenup
stuff.
to
That's
protect
right.
it. So
That's backwards.
I wouldn't need one if
I'm saying it backwards.
yeah. That's why they exist. So I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I would make sure that there were clauses in there that were gonna protect me. Like I wouldn't just sign it blindly. I would have to be able to like make adjustments as I felt were necessary.
I don't think I would propose one, but if she got enough stuff, I'd sign a reasonable one if I had to. I guess yours makes sense having a
adultery
infidelity clause.
Yup. That'd probably be the only adjustment that I would feel a need to make. Really. I would just want that in there because you ain't finna be out here just tricking off on bitches out of town. And now if I leave, I'm fucked because you fucking up. Like, no. I would have to have that in there just to protect myself. So I would sign it if it was negotiable. But if you just want me to sign some shit and you ain't willing to bend on nothing, then no. We got a problem. So Snapchat, I don't really use Snapchat. I got like one coworker that use that shit, and so she the only person that snapped me anything ever. And I don't even really know how to use Snapchat, to be honest. But apparently they had an update that changed a lot of stuff, and people kind of pissed about the changes. So that was already a hit for them. So then they had an advertisement on Snapchat that said, it was a would you rather, okay? And the options were slap Rihanna or punch Chris Brown. And because of their domestic violence history, people felt like it was insensitive, and it was insensitive of them. So Rihanna, I'm gonna just read quickly.
She disrespectful.
Huh?
She was disrespectful.
It's disrespectful as fuck. So Rihanna, this is what was her response. Now Snapchat, I know you already know you ain't my fave app out there, but I'm just trying to figure out what the point was with this mess. I love to call it ignorance, but I know you ain't that dumb. You spent money to animate something that would intentionally bring shame to DV victims and made a joke of it. This isn't about my personal feelings because I don't have much of them. Love Rihanna. But all the women, children, and men that have been victims of DV in the past, and especially the ones who haven't made it out yet, you let us down. Shame on you. Throw the whole apology away, because they made an apology that, of course, that everybody make an apology when you get caught. And because of that, after that, they've lost $800 million in market value, like when she made this statement. So the power of celebrities is just amazing. But Snapchat, like, the fuck was y'all thinking? Like, did y'all think people was just gonna laugh it off and think it was funny? Rihanna has a Navy. They call it the Navy. They don't play them kind of games. She has some of the most loyal fucking fans ever.
I don't even think I listened to a whole Rihanna album, but I like her a lot. Just because of her attitude and her personality.
But she don't have no fucks to give. I love Rihanna. And so I just don't. And so of course they're saying they're investigating it. People be killing me with this shit. Don't nothing get put like advertisement wise out without it going through a bunch of different hands. And everybody hands that this shit passed through gave it the okay, and y'all put it on y'all app. Like, it ain't nothing to investigate at this point.
I don't know if it necessarily is that simple. I think that it is probably one salty ass male who is a meninist who is in charge of that shit, but he's kept his perspectives relatively subsided to the point that he would think that this would be some kind of okay.
Yeah, but he should not have the ultimate authority. Like, that's why you have checks and balances, so shit like this don't get through.
You say that's why you have checks and balances, but I think that's why this shit always happening. That's why I think that shit happened with Shea Moisture. He trusted somebody that he shouldn't have trusted, and while he ain't the one who probably approved it to happen, he's the face of the shit.
But that's why, let me tell you, if I was part of a company, and I know that I would have a lot of other stuff going on, but like at major advertisements like this, I'm gonna need to approve it. Like I just, because you're right. The dude, whoever came up with that Shea Moisture thing, don't nobody even know their name. they know the CEO and he the one that got all the backlash. The same thing for the CEO of Snapchat. Like,
Was this a filter?
it was it was an ad. It was a would you rather game. So it wasn't a filter. It was like, would you rather, and you supposed
So
to click
it
on
wasn't a part of the Snapchat code. It was just something that pop up between.
Yeah.
So it's something that somebody made, maybe not that Snapchat, that another group was advertising that they approved.
Their
Okay,
advertising
okay.
department approved it because it was an ad. It wasn't.
So that had to be an outside agency that came in. So it do have to go through appropriate channels.
Yeah.
And through hands.
Yeah, it wasn't a filter. It wasn't a filter. It was an ad on Snapchat.
Unless it was an ad that they could change and control after they was approved to be on it. Like they didn't know what questions was gonna pop up.
We'll never know.
It don't even matter because your face is on it, Snapchat, and you know what? You ain't gonna beat Rihanna.
Well, and the thing is, y'all already had took a hit because people hated the update, and so you were already struggling. Like they were already taking hits behind that. So y'all didn't need nothing else to make this shit work. Then you come out with this bullshit.
See, this is the opportunity. Somebody finna pop in with a brand new app that's something like Snapchat.
Yep.
Because the Facebook one ain't great because
no,
it's on Messenger, and a lot of people already didn't install Messenger because of all of the approvals that they were asking for your phone on it. So another company gonna come out and do that.
Snapchat finna go the way of Vine. They gonna
what's
be
finna
like Vine. Oh, they're gonna just get killed off and.
Well, you know that's how it works. Somebody come in the industry, get rich real quick, leave, and they can have a good life.
Yeah. Well, not like the lower level folks, that the developers and.
Well,
them
if they develop good enough, they gonna be able to get another job.
Yeah. But Snapchat, y'all knew better than that fucking shit. Like some shit you just.
Or hopefully when you get a job as a developer at some place that you believe in, you buy enough stock.
Yeah, but if the stock start dropping like it's dropping, you still fucked. Cause they lost 8 million. Like that's the stock.
Well, it still ain't gonna be like it was when it started. When it started, they bought penny stocks.
Yeah,
and even if they still let $100, then you still got good.
I mean, and the thing is, if you had changed one of these, if it wasn't Rihanna and Chris Brown, like if it was Rihanna and Beyonce, it wouldn't have been as bad of a backlash. But it's like
if you would have used Rihanna was coming for you.
No, I think she is because it was with Chris Brown.
Maybe it would have been in jest, but she would have said something.
Yeah,
if it was just about they want to slap me.
Yeah,
it would have been something different. But
it wouldn't have been nothing that would have
domestic violence.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been nothing that would have affected their bottom dollar. But putting her with Chris Brown was just fucking stupid. You could have chosen but Demi Lovato. You could have put anybody else in either plate. Like it could have been Chris Brown, Demi Lovato. You could have kept either one of them and changed the other one, and it would not be this big of a backlash.
Chris Brown and Drake.
Yep. But you chose these two people who have a DV background. It just was in poor taste.
You did it to yourself.
You did it to yourself. Y'all was already fucking struggling.
You know, these kids this week walked out of the schools.
Yeah.
For
17 minutes.
For gun violence.
Yeah. 17 minutes, a minute for each victim of Parkland.
But I'm torn about the politics of this shit.
What you mean?
Because what I've heard is the walkout has been politicized. At every step, Republicans or Second Amendment right advocates have marked any kids talking about this as being taken advantage of and politicized, as if 15, 16, and 17-year-olds aren't developed enough to have their own ideals and thoughts about the traumas that they've experienced.
Because they're the ones being shot at. So, I mean, it's not like they're using kids that have nothing to do with this issue. They're the ones that have to be concerned about whether or not an active shooter gonna come into their school. So, yeah, I'm sure they have an opinion about it.
I'm just I don't want to say I'm upset, but I'm irritated at the fact that they are not allowing these kids to have some kind of voice and their own opinion.
Let me just say it, because I had a couple of people on my friends list And I usually by the I felt like I had got rid of all of the dumb people from all these other incidents that have happened, and I see they posting, so you get removed. But for the people who posted, y'all really gonna listen to a bunch of 16 and 17-year-olds about gun issues when just a week ago they were eating Tide Pods to try to take away from what these kids have to say. They the ones being shot at, motherfuckers. They the ones that have to go to school and be concerned about losing their life while they're supposed to be in a safe space. So for you to like post something like that or feel that way or make a statement like that, it's really fucked up because you're invalidating real fears that these kids have.
Not only that, but what do you think they learn in 1 or 2 years when they become 18 and old enough to vote that makes you think that they don't have that now already? What do you think happens in that fucking 24-month span at most? Well, that ain't at most because there's some 50 younger kids going through this. But when you talk about the 16 and 17-year-olds that's going to be 18 within a 2-year span,
they're going to be voting for y'all.
Exactly. What do you think that they get within those 2 years? Or how long do you plan on invalidating somebody that's younger than you that don't agree with your perspective?
Cause college students do stupid shit. They in their 20s and out here doing dumb shit. Like if you're gonna base it on that, it's grown people. Like at what point is it that you're not gonna pull that out? Because I can give examples of any age group almost doing stupid shit.
And the reason I say I'm torn is because there are people that's trying to politicize this and act like this is teenagers walking out because of Second Amendment. They don't agree with the Second Amendment and they won't change. And then the other side is saying, that
people are using
the kids as if they don't have their own opinion. It is happening, but it don't have shit to do with the kids who are old enough to make those decisions that they want to go out here for whatever reason. Some kids may be going out because they want legislation change. Some kids are going out there to protest violence, but don't give a fuck about changing the Second Amendment. Yeah. And some of them are truly in their grief deep enough that they are just grieving for the people that have been lost. It's varying levels of these people. But just like you said, I hate when they do shit like a whole group of people like, are they talking about legislation today, but was eating Tide Pods yesterday? That's not a whole group. And more so them the motherfuckers that's gonna win the Darwin Awards across their whole life.
Survival of the fittest.
Yeah. They the people that gonna be driving motorcycles crazy through traffic. They the motherfuckers that's gonna be listening to their radio plugged up right next to the bathtub. They the same people that's gonna be doing all the shit that will kill you out here. Yeah. There are smart kids out here. There are kids who think for themselves. And to be honest, I think it's more of them than not.
With any group. The outliers are going to be the ones that get the most attention because they are the ones making the most noise. Like, of course, eating Tide Pods is going to make the news, but that does not mean that every kid everywhere is eating Tide Pods. Like, that's with anything. The things that you see in the news are usually the outliers. It's not going to be everybody in whatever particular group that they're talking about, but they make the news because of how ridiculous what they're doing is. That don't mean that all teenagers are out here eating Tide Pods. It's just stupid to think that and to invalidate these kids who have real fear. And my problem with a lot of the people who say shit like that, a lot of these legislators, y'all are in buildings that are protected. Y'all don't go to work ever questioning whether or not an active shooter is gonna come in because your building is usually pretty fucking secure. And you don't have to worry about this. To tell a child who could be sitting in math class and lose their life that they don't have a right to be upset, that they don't have a right to be fearful, that they don't have a right to talk about how this impacts them and how they want change so that they don't have to feel these feelings is ridiculous because you don't understand it, and you don't have to understand it to be respectful of it. But because again, talk about putting all of these guns in the school, there's still going to be places where a lot of these folks work where guns will not be allowed, and they don't want guns to be allowed there because they want to be protected, or people are not going to be allowed rather to bring guns inside. Not about not having guns there. They're going to have metal detectors always at the courthouses. You're not going to be able to come in there with your gun. That just is what it is because you want to be safe. So do these kids. They have just as much of a right to feel safe in the places where they ain't even got no choice to go. Because then y'all get them on truancy when they don't fucking go to school. So this is a place where they have to be legally. They have to be in school.
I think, but I do think a component of not being able to have those guns in those places, they are also places that create hostile individuals that would come there to retaliate.
Obviously, schools are as well. I mean, we've been shown that,
but
they
not
are.
not with adults. Like, it creates that within the dynamic about kids that are already there.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't a lot about schools that have adults come from the outside and do shit without.
Yeah, but you have kids that might be a part of that system that still come. They bring the gun in from outside. Like, what was the school here? Was it Huffman?
Mm-hmm.
Not the shooting, but right before the shooting, they found a gun in a kid's locker.
Oh yeah, no, that was a junior high.
It was a junior high. But so they're still bringing guns inside. You know what I'm saying? So like, it ain't adults, but it's still kids like that are a part of that school system bringing guns in.
What I'm saying, when you say kids just want to be safe, but y'all already know that y'all gonna have metal detectors and stuff in y'all places, and y'all can't have guns in courtrooms and the courthouse and stuff. You're talking about a system that sentences people to. You talking about judges that have a reason for people to come after their ass.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but obviously there are kids that for whatever reason become disgruntled and shoot up schools, and you don't know when that's gonna happen, but it's happened enough here in the recent years that it's a problem. Like the same way with, I'm sure they didn't start out with metal detectors in courtrooms, but after they saw motherfuckers would come in and blaze it up to keep them going to jail.
I guess the comparison I'm making is that judges traditionally have had a lot more to fear than children at school have, even with the level of disgruntled that a child may become.
But I feel like because of the fact that this is happening, I mean, we had the one here in Huffman shortly after the one in Parkland, and like Huffman didn't make news because it wasn't an active shooter. It wasn't like a school. It was like a isolated incident, and I'm sure those isolated incidents happen more. They're not going to be reported every time one of those happen. What I'm saying is, yes, they traditionally judges are going to have more issues, but it's the same way after 9/11, how they changed how we fly and what you can do in the airport. Like, you have to respond to shit as it changes. Like, to say that ain't been the case before, or that it ain't the case at every school, that it ain't. Every airport didn't have shit happening, but after 9/11, they made all airports safer.
That's the thing. Like, from my vantage point, even if you go all the way back to the fucking 1800s, when duels were legal, at some point they decided that you couldn't shoot another motherfucker with a gun. Duels became outlawed.
Yeah.
So people always go back to the old days about the Second Amendment. Yes, everybody had a fucking gun, but the rules that governed how guns was used was still something that they did back then. For us to be saying we can't make no rules to change the shit to govern how guns are used now, and you use that old ass Second Amendment shit for that reason when they did that shit back then. Right now what we're hearing is just propaganda, political platforms, and tactics to try to continue to invalidate anything that will make people want to change anything. And that's a problem. The Republicans who are saying y'all are politicizing this, they be doing the same shit.
They do.
I don't get how they don't understand how saying what they say is the exact version, because a kid that was grieving had no inclination. Like, a parent the other day told me that they had to explain to their child, who are second gun advocates, had to explain to their child how the walkout was a political tactic for the left about changing guns. And he said, so if I walk out, does that mean I'm for guns or against guns? And she said, that means that you're against guns. He didn't have that concept in his head until that dialogue was placed in his head.
And that's
what
not
he
what
thought was
about.
I assume he thought was he was going out to protest violence.
And that is what it was.
And you can protest violence without believing one or the other right now.
Yep.
You can have that dialogue. you can walk out and protest violence and come figure out how you think about it tomorrow, because who fucking don't want to protest violence?
Yeah.
Let the kids walk out on behalf of violence, and when they get back, they can give a fuck about the Second Amendment or not give a fuck about the Second Amendment. That's their prerogative. But the left and the right putting all these ideas in the kids' heads as if they don't have their own way of thinking is problematic. But the fact that a parent like that can put that idea in her head,
Of course.
you know, it exists. I just hate that it's being used as a default of kids don't know the hell they're talking about.
Yeah.
That's like bullshit.
Just a way to invalidate it so that they don't have to answer these questions. Like, you just invalidate the question altogether. You won't have to answer it.
Dickheads.
Pretty much. Prostitute known as Pretty Hoe charged for sex trafficking. And I saw this and I was just like,
Let me see her picture.
oh, she's a pretty hoe now. She is a pretty hoe.
Yeah. Questionable. Let me see closer. Let me hand me that.
She's a pretty hoe.
But you can't call. You gotta call her Pretty Hoe the hoe, if that's her name.
Well, but hoe being in her name let you know what she.
Her face too round.
Don't nobody really want to be called hoe and be all right
Her
with it.
face too round. Like if your face too round or too oblong, this look weird to me. Look how round her face is. It's like almost a circle.
It's like she got a pie face, but she's still cute.
She cute. If she came up to me in Walmart, I'd give her some time.
Okay. Well, you
But
gotta
I noticed that her face was round
you
as
gonna have to
hell.
give her some money for the time.
Oh hell no! I don't give a
pretty
damn who
hoe.
come up to me in Walmart to give me time. If I get the, I was in Vegas when we went to Vegas. I was dressed all dapper, had on my suspenders, and a girl came up to me and was like, "You dressed all nice." I knew what it was. You know, she probably the only black girl I seen the whole time, but I imagined that she was looking for black dudes to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
I sent her about her way because I knew what it was. I don't have time for people who are looking for my money if I'm not in a place that is trying to sell something. Like if I walk into a shoe store, I expect you to walk up and try to figure out a way to sell me some shoes.
Yes.
If I'm in my regular habitat, Walmart or Vegas, or enjoying myself somewhere, and you come to me trying to sell something, I don't want it. I don't care what it is. Unless you trying to sell me some discount electronics on the cheap out the back of your truck, or maybe even cologne, because somebody opened up their whole trunk one time full of cologne. I was like, I'll take some of those.
Oh Jesus.
I bought some too.
Okay, so the problem is not that she a hoe, it's that she been trafficking other people. So she's like a madam, because men are pimps and women are madams. She's a madam.
Like Tiffany Haddish.
Yes, like Tiffany Haddish.
Look, if y'all don't know the Tiffany Haddish story, y'all need to go find it. But basically, she had a boyfriend that loved him some Jordans, and he cheated on her. And so what she did was she shitted in his shoe. Yeah, she's doo-dooed in his shoe. And the girl that he was dating, he was having her do like low quality porn and paying her. So what Tiffany Haddish did was she went and told that girl, hey, he ain't paying you enough. I can pay you if you come with me. Took his bitch and started pimping her out. And she was making so much money that she got her friends involved in it. And Tiffany was basically over
A madam.
helping them get
She
that
was
money.
a madam.
It's funny when she tell it, but it's fucked up.
It is fucked up, because you did all of this just to get back at old.
No. That's genius. That's genius.
Is it?
Yes.
That's a lot to go through to be
Bruh,
get back at somebody.
she made an income off of infidelity.
I can't.
If you don't write a book to make income, if this is how you make income off of infidelity, power to you. Like if you can find a way to take your having been cheated on and make money off of it, fine. So that's the genius part. The fact that she was illegally pimping out women to do such, I don't agree with that part. But she turned shit into sugar.
Oh God. Pretty Hoe's real name is Melanie Danae Williams. Very regular name. According to the New York Post, federal prosecutor charged Melanie on Tuesday with trafficking minors for sex and uninformed? Yeah. uninformed force or fraud to coerce an adult into prostitution. What is uninformed force?
Let's see. I don't know. Uninformed force. I would assume that they didn't have enough information about what they was doing to know that they were being forced into it. I don't know.
That they could not do it. That they did. Yeah, like making them feel like they don't have any other choice. Maybe.
Let's see. Uninformed force. That ain't even showing up.
The indictment actually names her as Pretty Hoe. That's her name. You know. Prosecutors
Maybe
say
they made up a new goddamn.
Yeah, I don't.
That ain't in Google. And when something ain't in Google, something wrong on the other side.
It says uninformed force or fraud to coerce an adult into prostitution. Prosecutors say Melanie ordered a hooker she found on social media to strip and threw bleach on her and beat her with a broomstick. That's not funny.
A broomstick?
Yeah, I
Threw
guess.
bleach on her? What the bleach supposed to do?
Maybe get in her eyes. She can't see. You just kind of try.
She could just do sand like Dale.
I mean, yeah, but I feel like bleach is worse than sand. Like getting bleach in your eye, that just sound like your eyeball will start boiling or some shit. Bleach.
But you can't allocate bleach as fast as you can sand. You can hold sand in your hand and just boom before they even know it. Sand in your eyes. You got to have bleach in a cup. Like you got to be carrying something over to somebody with bleach.
She had a cup. Like she was there because she called a hooker. She a hooker, so she probably oh, you want some wine, some liquor, not wine. I guess you want some Boone's Farm.
Boone's Farm. What level of prostitutes was she fooling with?
One that she ordered off of social media.
Oh, yeah. Boone's Farm.
Boone's Farm. The 22-year-old was sentenced to 3 months. Oh, that was last year for prostitution. She had once referred to herself as the most hated hoe in LA on social media. So the problem is that they're minors.
Yeah,
I mean, she was doing it with adults too, but the fact that you got these kids out here, pretty hoe,
bad.
it's ridiculous. I mean, I guess she just decided she tired of hoeing. Maybe she don't want to hoe herself no more, so she just gotta get on the entrepreneurial side of things.
I've worked with clients that pimp their kids out. That's them like the worst cases to me, because it's created a norm for a child from the people who was supposed to be teaching them life. Like the person who was teaching you right from wrong taught you that this bullshit was right.
Yep.
Because I don't see no parent pimping out their kids and saying, now this is wrong, but this is how we gonna pay the bills.
Oh yeah, no, they don't ever. Mm-mm.
They need to. That's fucked up.
It is Pretty Hoe.
Pretty Hoe. Damn, she couldn't came up with no better damn name for herself than that.
She's not creative. She beat a bitch with a broomstick and threw bleach on her. She's not a creative person. Those are tools of convenience. They just was there. A broomstick?
So, when it comes to domestic violence, and it's fucked up because this minor league baseball player named Danny Vasquez, whose initials coincidentally are domestic violence, was shown on a video beating the shit out of his girlfriend. Like,
oh yeah, I saw that.
He came down the stairs and backslapped her, dragged her down the stairs a little bit, uppercut her some, backslapped her twice with one hand back this way and the other hand back that way. I don't know what the hell was going on, but he did all that shit.
Yeah.
But look, he did all that shit in 2016.
And they just now.
And the video just now came out in 2018. Now, she did not press charges, but the court said that in order for you to be out of our system, you got to go through 12 months of anger management and domestic violence classes, which he did. Mm-hmm. And this video comes out today. He got cut from one team for it, and he's on another team that he has not been cut from yet. But this goes into the question I've constantly been asking since Me Too, and I've asked about Chris Brown several times. Can these people be redeemed? When can you be regarded as a new person? Is it possible? Or is the is public opinion that strong that once you in this shit, you in it?
You in
like,
it.
what if this happened in 2010 and a video came out today? Is this a reason for him to still be cut from the teams? Or are these things that are, or does it depend on the level of it?
Teams are businesses, and anybody that is gonna fuck up that image is gonna be let go. I feel like as far as public perception is concerned, Chris Brown gonna forever be known as the dude that beat Rihanna. I hate that for him, but that's part of his legacy. Part of his legacy is beating Rihanna. You know, I mean, I'm sure that shit is on his Wikipedia page. I would bet money that it's on his Wikipedia page.
The Danry Vasquez.
No,
the dude.
No, Chris Brown.
Oh, of course.
But that's what I'm saying. It's a part of his legacy. It becomes a part of your legacy. Like, I don't think that he's ever gonna shake that.
Well, I think it's different with entertainers than it is with athletes, because athletes definitely represent an organization.
Yeah.
Now, Chris Brown, while all the advertisements and stuff he did connect ties with him, he's as an individual connected individually with his fans.
Yeah.
It's not like he's representing an organization.
Yeah.
You know.
But ain't what the fuck is the dog fighter nigga?
Michael Vick.
Ain't he still playing? Like, that kind of blew over.
Well, that's, yeah. I want to say that's dogs.
But no, people give.
I know people care more than dogs, but the system don't care more about dogs than not.
No, but I mean, if we're talking about public perception having an impact on businesses, because Michael Vick, they weren't fucking with him when this shit first happened.
Michael Vick, because he got jail. Michael Vick quit playing because he got jail time.
Yeah, but he probably.
And as soon as he got out of jail, he went back to the NFL. Like, the sports world, either they didn't care because it was dogs, or they feel like he served his time. He did what he was supposed to do for the crimes that he did, and that should have absolved him.
Yeah, there probably is that. I mean,
but then the times is different too, because back then, if Michael Vick had beat up a woman instead of fought dogs, he still would have been playing.
Yeah.
Versus today, during the era of the Me Too movement, if you do that shit, it's a wrap.
But it should be.
It should have always been, from my perspective.
It should have always been, but I mean, the fact that I'm just gonna take that it is now, because it can't change the past. But like, that becomes a part of your legacy. The same way that Michael Jackson was never found guilty of any pedophilia, but that's part of his legacy. Unfortunately, that's gonna always be something that's gonna be tied to him. His legacy is gonna forever be his music, being the king of pop. But it also is gonna be all of that shit about the pedophile. Niggas still make jokes and shit about it. Like, I feel like it's certain stuff that you can do that you just ain't gonna be able to run from. Like, it's just gonna be connected to you. Now, even with Chris Brown, even with Michael Jackson, that was connected to him, but he was able to still perform and make money. Same way with Chris Brown. Chris Brown would probably be way more successful had that shit not happened. I feel like his career, he's successful, but I feel like he would be a lot more successful had that incident with Rihanna not happened. But it didn't stop him from being able to be successful. And
I think that's the difference between when you're an artist that will still bring some financial gain to somebody versus an expendable athlete that can be taken the place of.
What happened to the dude who knocked the bitch out in the elevator?
Ray Rice.
No
job.
He ain't playing no more? I know they still got married.
In 2016, he said if he was signed to a team, he was going to donate his whole salary to domestic violence.
Did nobody give a fuck?
Nope.
Well, now let me say this. I want to. Part of that might just be because it's so new that athletes are being held accountable for this shit. Like, as time go on, I don't know. It might get to be where it's like a performer that can still make money for your team and it not be held against you forever. But I feel like they making examples of athletes now because they weren't held accountable before at first. Will this continue? I don't know.
Not only athletes, though, men have been held accountable for this shit.
But I mean,
it's judges up there that done backhanded their wives out here.
Oh yeah.
It's NFL owners and coaches that done backhanded their wives. Like, it's people out here that's done that shit.
Yeah.
Especially if you old as hell.
So I feel like part of that is just, it's so new. And so people just are like, fuck you, because you probably been doing that shit and getting away with it. Everybody been doing it and getting away with it for so long that they're being held accountable now, and it's a lot harsher. Now, as time go on, like 15, 20 years from now, will that be the same? I don't know. Shit, 10 years from now, will it be the same? You know how people get up in arms about shit and then it kind of like mellow out?
Yeah.
I don't know if this is going to continue to be what happens. I think because it's so new, you're not redeemable right now. But I feel like as time go on, athletes might become more redeemable and be like all of these other men that commit heinous crimes, and people that forgive them and still go see them play or whatever the fuck. So I think because it's new. But it's some shit you can do that is not going to be redeemable in the public eye, and therefore just going to be attached to you forever.
How he whooped that woman's ass? No. I don't give a fuck if he don't do shit else.
Ray Rice shouldn't have, because he knocked her ass
but like the earlier conversations going away from domestic violence, like masturbating in a plant, Louis C.K.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I don't, for that situation, I don't know, because the harm in that situation wasn't what he did. It was how it impacted the women that he did it to. Mm-hmm. You know, because they a couple of them ended their comedy careers because of that. You know, like if I got to deal with this bald-headed, chubby-ass nigga masturbating to some plants, if this is what I got to do to get into this industry, I'm out. You know?
Disgusting.
So, but I know it's not a clear-cut answer, but a question that I was actually on the nerd plate this past week with Leroy Ketchum, you know, and we talked about if you can separate the creators of content that you value versus their actions and behaviors.
Some people can, some people can't. R. Kelly is the best example of that.
I'm saying, like, for LeBron fans, LeBron beat his woman to a pulp, you know.
There would be some that would be forgiven.
Yeah,
that
like,
wouldn't. It just depends. That's a person by person.
It is a person by person, because the thing is, like, I had to think of it in the context of what I love. If somebody who created something that I love ended up being a horrible person, damn, would I be able to separate myself from it? I mean, it depends on what it is, clearly.
It depends on what it is and who it is. I'm trying to think of somebody that I like. I don't even know that I have that much of an attachment to.
What about The Sims? What if you deep into Sims? What if the creator of Sims, The Sims did something horrible? Like, would you be able to stop playing The Sims, you know?
Yeah, no.
Or would you feel like you need to stop playing The Sims for the rest of your life for that? You know? Nate Parker, should I not watch anything he's ever in now? You know, because of his past, and we know his past, or is there a point of being redeemable? Or is it based on how you interact to it? Like Louis C.K., he owned up to that shit. He said, I did the shit. It was fucked up. I was a different person in a different place. I'm sorry. Nate Parker said, they ain't find me guilty of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
fuck that nigga.
I mean, this dude, domestic violence, he said, I'm a different person. Like, I went through counseling for a year about this shit.
Yeah.
I knew it was wrong. I knew it was horrible. You know?
Yeah.
But then the level of what you did, like, it's just so many fucking variables, man.
Yeah.
It's just so many variables.
I mean, it's not a lot of things that I would have an issue parting with. I don't have attachments to a lot of stuff. Like, even with The Sims, I wouldn't stop playing the game that I have. I might not purchase, because I already got the shit. But I might not, going forward, maybe not buy like Sims 5, because they own 4, if there was a Sims 5. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know that I have a deep connection to anything that much. Like, I'm trying to think of something that...
What about Chuck Taylors?
Oh, yeah.
Would you stop wearing Chuck Taylors?
Yeah. I don't know. What the nigga do?
See, I think we all got something that it'll make us question, you know? Because if Chuck Taylor, that happened to me, I'd be like, well, fuck Chuck Taylors. No. But I don't wear Chuck Taylors.
I got about 5 different designs.
Shea Moisture went down the drain. As soon as I bought some new Shea Moisture products, I was like, you know what? let's take about 6 to 8 weeks to explore this situation. My product should be gone by then.
Well, and like, I mean, sometimes, like with the hair thing, with Shea Moisture, I didn't. Black hair, man, it's so hard to find shit that work. So, I don't know. I gave a pass to people who didn't give up Shea Moisture because, like, it's hard to find shit that work on your hair.
I found some shit called Aryan something.
It's a lot of Argan.
It's the brand name. Now I know
It's a lot
of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember the name of the shit. It don't work.
Yeah.
It worked better than soap. I tell you that right now.
But that's the thing. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's hard to find stuff that work. And when you find something that work, giving it up means you got to find something else that work. And it might take you months to find that thing. So I get that. It's hard. Hair stuff is hard because everything don't work for your hair.
Yeah.
So.
But that's the question, though. I wonder. I'm gonna ask everybody some questions. We don't normally, throw stuff out there to do on social media. We just leave it blank. But what do you love? What do you love enough that if you found out the creator of it was a horrible person that did something horrible, that it'll be hard for you to distance yourself from it? Also, what do y'all think is worse, or harder to deal with? A man that's dating somebody with a crazy baby mama, or
a woman,
or a man dating somebody with a crazy baby daddy, or a woman dating somebody with a crazy baby mama? Like, which one do y'all think is the worst?
I still think the baby mama boy.
Throw that shit on Twitter at ConvoConArtist or at Mr. MISTER_ on point.
Or red_calamity. Yeah, I still.
Bro, I was finna say Mr. Don't Play.
The fuck
That was my very first email address. Everybody's first email address was some bullshit. Like, mine was Mr. Don't Play 16.
Oh my God.
That's Project Pat right there.
That's funny.
I was finna say that shit.
That's hilarious.
But I'm gonna give a shout out to Government Name Podcast, Nerd Plate Podcast, Carefree Black Nerd, Social Introvert, and Black Married Fly. That's all of the BYNK Radio Network podcasts.
Troublemaker and Candace.
Them some good. The middle name Danae of Pretty Hoe. I immediately thought about.
Sorry, Candace,
Damn.
but you shared a middle name with Pretty Hoe, so her name is Melanie Danae. But yeah, that's funny. I didn't even think about that, but that's right.
But because I had that impure thought, I wanted to make sure that not impure thought, impure connection.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to connect, but that's what that was.
That's funny.
We actually supposed to be going to shoot pool tonight with Government Name.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we'll see how that goes. Anyway, you got anything else on your mind?
I do not.
All right. Well, until we the next conversation.
Yeah.
Holla.